Hello and welcome to Chatting Movies with me, Pedro. This is kind of going to be my new sort of outlet for the podcast because the podcast is a bit of a nightmare to really do because I have to essentially I have to record it through Audacity, and then I need to edit it, which means cutting out the gaps and the ums and the ahs and everything, and then adding different things to the track to make it sound as good. But recording through this, doing it on a video, I can then just edit it with my intro and it's done. I just realised my teeth are slanted. That's so weird. Yeah, unfortunately, I was supposed to be on Ollie's stream last night, Ollie Loves Films stream, but there was a fire on the train tracks on Sunday, and obviously being Bank Holiday Monday as well, the trains were running on Bank Holiday service, and coupled with the fire that had happened on Sunday, I kind of got stuck after work on Monday, and I didn't get back into Cardiff until it must have been 22 quarter to 8, and obviously the stream started at 7:30, so I was unable to make it, but I will hopefully be appearing on Ollie Loves Films stream on this Monday coming for the film quiz. So this is Chatting Movies. This is where I just ramble on about movies all day. I'll tell you a really cool thing about working for CEX now, and obviously I'm not a huge tech guy, so when it comes to like phones and laptops and stuff like that, I'm not the guy. But when it comes to movies, I am the guy. It's my favorite part of the job is talking to customers who are buying Blu-rays, customers who are trading stuff in, and generally just having a look to see if there's anything there that I want, which there has been a few. I'm not going to lie, there are a few. I've picked up a few in the last 2 weeks that are on that I've actually shown them on my PEDRO'S pickup videos. But yeah, this is just the outlet for me to just chat about movies. I had a really, really nice comment off a viewer the other day, off John Mooney, who said that my channel was the best physical media channel to him. Now, I don't see myself as a physical media channel because I focus more on the movies. I don't know. It's a bit of an odd one. I mean, I was very touched by the comment, and I thought that like the reason I think I stand out against maybe a few other physical media channels is because I use the physical product to talk about movies. So when I do my pickups, like the other day, for instance, when I did the recent pickups with the movie Wildcard, and I talked about the Parker movies and the Parker novels by Donald Westlake. I mean, they have literally no relevance to the movie Wildcard. Wildcard is not based on a Parker novel. It is a remake of a Burt Reynolds movie called Heat from like 1987, I think it is. But the reason I talked about Parker was because the character in Wildcard kind of reminded me of the Parker character in the Parker films and the Parker novels. So I used Wildcard as a jumping off point to recommend and to talk about those movies like Point Blank and The Outfit and Payback and Slayground, and I still can't remember the name of the one with Jim Brown. I'm gonna double check. Parker movies. Parker movies. Richard Stark. Richard Stark Parker movies. Right, so there are a total of, according to The Split. There we go. That is the name. That is the name of the movie, The Split. So let me just double check that it is Jim Brown, because I think it is. The Split. That's the only one I always forget. It's because I've never seen it. It is. It's Jim Brown. So it's Jim Brown and Diane Carroll, Ernest Borgnine, Julia Harris, Gene Hackman, Jack Klugman, Warren Oates. Damn, this is a cast. James Whitmore, Donald Sutherland, Joyce Jameson, Harry Hickox. Directed by Gordon Fleming and written by Donald E. Westlake and Robert Sabarov. That is a cast. Jesus. I'm going to just hold up the poster on my phone. I don't know if you can see it. That is The Split. You can't see it on my phone. There's The Split, which is the second movie to be adapted from the Donald E. Westlake Parker novels. I'm currently reading the big book that I showed the other day, which is the Parker graphic novel compendium by Darwin Cook. Darwin Cook has written and illustrated that big, massive, chunky box book, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, that is the reason why I referenced the Parker character, because the movie Wildcard really sort of fits in well to that series of novels. And apparently Shane Black is doing a Parker movie with Mark Wahlberg, and I can think of many, many other actors who would fit that role better than Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg, he's not as intimidating now as he would have been a few years back, because Parker is a criminal. He is a kind of noir criminal sort of guy that, like, cigarette in mouth and just an all-round, like, cool-ass motherfucker. So I can think of better actors who I think would suit that character a lot more. Someone like John Hamm or Adrian Brody, and there's another one as well, I can't remember. But if I was casting a Parker movie, my go-to actor for the role of Parker would be Colin Farrell, mainly because of the TV show that he did recently, which was a private detective sci-fi sort of thing called Sugar. His character in that is the closest that I can envision a Parker character outside of Mel Gibson, because Mel Gibson to me is the embodiment of that character. Jason Statham was pretty good. Lee Marvin was also really, really good. Peter Coyote was not as great in Slayground. And while I think it's a fantastic movie, The Outfit, Robert Duvall's Macklin isn't really what I would sort of envision for that character. I would go more with someone who is probably darker haired, between the ages of 35 and 45, not overly built, but has a bit of weight to him. But someone who can just be mean, and we know that Colin Farrell can be mean because he is fantastic in Penguin. and the Batman under all the prosthetics and stuff. But I think he would be a really, really, really good choice for Parker over Mark Wahlberg. The problem with Mark Wahlberg, and this is only since, I guess, Pain and Gain, is that the movies that Mark Wahlberg has done, he basically plays Mark Wahlberg in every movie since. So, like the Family Man or something with Michelle Monaghan, where he plays a former undercover CIA operative, and like Ted, what's it, Spencer for Hire as well on Netflix. Just a lot of the stuff that he does, he plays Mark Wahlberg in. But then before Pain and Gain, I can't really think of a decent Mark Wahlberg film before Pain and Gain. I can think of early Mark Wahlberg movies that are stand out, like The Big Hit and Fear, but Marky Mark is there is an issue with Marky Mark where he's just not believable as a sort of action hero. He could have been, but he's not. I think it's because his ego's so big and he's so up his own arse about it. Four Brothers is a decent movie, but then again, he's from the Joey Tribbiani school of acting, where it's the smell your own fart acting, which is so obvious in The Happening, and in what was the other movie? I can't remember now. Another decent choice for Parker would be Michael Fassbender. Not Michael Fassbender now, or maybe now, but Michael Fassbender, like if he darkened his hair, put a little bit more weight on, just not fat, but like he's quite a skinny guy. So if he looked like, I don't know, if he looked like he did as Magneto in the X-Men First Class, but with darker hair and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, I think he could like pull off an incredible Parker. There is I don't know if you've seen the TV series Day of the Jackal that recently got made by, I think it was HBO and Sky, or AMC and Sky. I can't remember. It's one of them and Sky. Might have been Peacock. I don't know. Eddie Redmayne in that is absolutely fantastic. And I think that series kind of also puts him in the sort of running for a very good Parker character. Well, Parker performance, if you will. I don't know. I think Mark Wahlberg is the wrong choice for that character. I think Colin Farrell is a spot on. It's like spot on Parker, or maybe even someone like Theo James, or what's his name? Like, I can imagine people going, "Oh yeah, Tom Hardy would be a great Parker." I think Tom Hardy would be okay, but if Havoc is anything to go by, and this isn't a slight to Havoc because I did enjoy it, but it does have problems. I think the main problem with Havoc the main problems with Havoc are the over editing and Tom Hardy kind of looking like he doesn't really want to be there. And you see that in quite a lot of films with Tom Hardy, where he doesn't seem to really want to be there. Like his performances in certain movies are like his interviews for promoting the movies, where he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to have to do this promotion for this movie. and he's always quite. I mean, if you look at like Robert De Niro's interviews when he does like chat shows and stuff, or when he's doing promotional tours and he has to talk to people. I know De Niro barely ever does promotional tours now, but if you look at his interviews, where it's just like De Niro is a master of his craft, but he does not want to do this interview. That is how I feel like Tom Hardy is in quite a lot of movies. He wants the money, but he doesn't really believe in the project. I mean, he's done 3 Venom movies, and each Venom movie, he seems like... I haven't seen the third one, but I have seen the second one, actually. But in Venom 1 and 2, especially the first film, he seems like he doesn't really give a shit about the film. A little bit more so in the second one. I think he was a producer on the second one. And he got to work with Andy Serkis, and apparently him and Serkis are quite good friends. But yeah, I think Colin Farrell would 100% be my pick for a Parker character for now. If I was picking a Parker character actor back in maybe the 70s or the 80s, I think in the 70s for Parker, maybe someone... I'd say a really good Parker in the 70s would have been Elliot Gould, because Elliot Gould's performance in The Long Good Friday? No, The Long Goodbye. The Philip Marlowe movie. He's so cool. He's cool as fuck in that movie. He is. This is Elliot Gould. This is the guy that played Monica's dad in Friends. He was a ice cool motherfucker in that film, in The Long Goodbye, and yeah, he would have made a really cool Parker character. He's also really good in the movie The Silent Partner, which is a Canadian crime thriller from like 1978. It's him and Christopher Plummer and a pre-massive fame John Candy as well. It's written, I can't remember who it's written by, but it's directed by Curtis Hanson, who went on and then did LA Confidential, which is a really good noir-y sort of throwback to those early noir movies set in Hollywood, which is such a good movie. Such a good movie. Great performances by everyone in that movie. Ken Basinger, I think, was nominated or won the Oscar for playing Veronica Lake in that. Russell Crowe's great in it. James Cromwell's great in it. Guy Pearce, like when he showed up in that, I was like, what the hell? That's Mike from Neighbours. He's in it. That's where his career basically started. And yeah, I mean, I think Elliot Gould would have been a great 70s Parker. Who else would have been good in the 70s as a good as Parker? Maybe someone like Richard Jordan. He's good in a lot of stuff in the 70s. That's just narrowing it down, isn't it? He's good in a lot of stuff in the 70s. He's really good in Logan's Run, and he's really good in the movie The Yakuza, which is a Sidney Pollack movie. Again, I think that's like 1978 or 1974. I can't remember, but it's written by Paul Schrader and his brother Richard Schrader. I think it's Richard Schrader. Richard Schrader is he's a writer, but he's also a expert on Japanese culture and stuff. So he was, and history. So he was able to put his expertise into the movie The Yakuza, which was directed by Sidney Pollack, written by Paul Schrader, stars Richard Jordan and Robert Mitchum and Ken Tanaka, I think it was, or something. I'll double check, because it is a really, really, really great movie, that movie, Yakuza. I'm just checking now. The Yakuza. The Yakuza. I can't spell. I just typed in the... The Yakuza. Oh, 1974, yeah. So it was Robert Mitchum, Ken Takakura, Eiji Okada, Richard Jordan, and James Shigeta, who is in quite a lot of stuff anyway. Brian Keith. If I click on Richard Jordan, because Richard Jordan died fairly young. He was 56. Died in 1993. What did he make in the 70s? That would have been a good standout for him in that sort of Parker role. Interior. Logan's Run, the Yakuza. Why did I say it like that? The Yakuza. Friends of Eddie Coyle. That's the other one I was thinking of. Friends of Eddie Coyle is a very cool, like 70s crime drama with Robert Mitchum, and it was directed by Peter Yates, who also directed. Peter Yates is one of my favorite 70s directors because he directed Bullet with Steve McQueen, but he also directed Krull, and let me go through it for you. He directed Krull, Bullet, The Roommates, An Innocent Man with Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck would be a great 90s Parker. House on Carroll Street, Suspect. Some good movies. Eyewitness, The Deep, which is now available on Blu-ray here in the UK through 101 Films. But Richard Jordan I think would have been great, but Tom Selleck, a great... Oh, if they made a better 80s sort of movie than Slayground in the 1980s instead of casting Peter Coyote, which is nothing against Peter Coyote, but I don't think Slayground was like the best Parker story to adapt. I think Tom Selleck would have been a really, really, really great Parker. He would have had to have shaved his mustache off, though. I think Tom Selleck would have been... Tom Selleck has always been a character actor that I thought should have been way bigger than he was. Yeah, I mean, he was a fairly decent star, but he wasn't, like, top tier. He was the dude from Magnum PI. He wasn't, like... Michael Douglas or fucking who else was there that was big in the 1980s? I don't know, but there was there was a lot of stars in the 1980s. But I think with Tom Selleck made some great movies in the 80s. Two standout movies being maybe not two standout movies. One big, obvious standout badass movie would have been Quigley Down Under. Great, like Aussie set western, and also he did Runaway, based on a Michael Crichton novel, which coincidentally he'd actually appeared in another Michael Crichton film in the late 70s, a film called Coma, which was bizarrely Michael Douglas. Who else was there? What else was there that he did? Three Men and a Baby, I think, was 1989. Three Men and a Little Lady was 1993, I think. But I was quite thrown off when I found out that Three Men and a Baby was actually directed by Leonard Nimoy. Mr. Spock from Star Trek directed that. That kind of threw me off, and I was unaware of that. But yeah, I think those are the people that I would make a Parker movie with as that character. So, like, I think Mel Gibson was perfect for Parker in Payback, where his character was called Porter. So yeah, I'd say 1970s, a great one would have been Elliot Gould. 1980s, a great one would have been Tom Selleck. 90s, Mel Gibson's perfect. 2000s, like early 2000s, who would have been a good Parker before Jason Statham took the role? I don't know, so maybe someone like Sam Rockwell, because he did a lot of stuff in the like mid 2000s. like Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, where he played an assassin. He was pretty good in that. But I don't know whether or not he would have worked as a sort of, I don't know, a bit more of a comical Parker, which we don't want. We want like mean, angry Parker. I think John Hamm would have been a great 2010s Parker character. 2000s, I think Adrian Brody would probably have been a very good sort of different take on Parker. And then now, I would say Colin Farrell would be the best option to play Parker in a adaptation of a Richard Stark novel. So I've talked about fucking Parker for 25 minutes. So I'm going to move along. So, what else did I talk about in that video? Was there anything else? Was there anything else that I talked about in that video? I cannot remember. No. I did actually have an idea for a video. A second part of an idea for a video, which was originally made by Roy from Blue Roy Movies, which was one film for each genre. And I posted one of those videos. I posted a response video for that. But because I watch so many movies, and because I like so many movies, and because I remember so many movies, I thought about doing a sequel video to that, a follow-up. So I've now listed, how many we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I've got 19 different genres. I've added anime, noir, disaster, and I think I added another one as well. No, I think I added that. It was 1, 2, 3 I added. And I've got a list of different movies that I want to talk about that I think are really good movies in their respective genres. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but there are a few films that I think are cross genre. So there's one that I've got as a comedy drama, which I'm going to use as a drama because I've got a different film for comedy, but I think it leans more heavily on the drama side than the comedy. So it's not something like Chasing Amy, but it is a film that I absolutely adore, and it's a film that is quite culty now compared to when it came out in like 1995. It's got a fucking banger of a soundtrack as well, and we celebrate a special day every year. There's a James Cameron movie on that list. I'm not going to tell you which one. What else is there? There's an incredible anime movie on this list as well. There's a massively underrated 90s thriller, which is a remake of a black and white film noir from the late 40s. There is a Canadian science fiction Star Wars ripoff in the animation section. There is horror was a bit of a cop-out because I was trying to think of horror movies that I love that not many people have seen, but if you're a horror movie fan, you will probably have seen 90% of everything. So my horror choices are a little bit of a cop-out. Sci-fi, I fucking love the movie that I've chosen, and I think a lot of people will also love this movie. It is an incredible film. It's from 1997. Make of that what you will. War, great. I've got another really cracker of war movie. Musical was easy. Musical was easy because I was literally thinking about this movie the other day. Post-apocalyptic is a film that I would love to see here in the UK on Blu-ray, but I don't think it's gonna get a release. Even though I know it was released by Vestron in the States on Blu-ray, but it hasn't had a release on Blu-ray here. But it's a really good post-apocalyptic movie from the late 80s, starring a certain man who starred in a certain movie about dancing dirty. What else have we got? Really good early Kubrick film on here for a certain genre, but I'm not going to tell you which one. Comedy is a sequel to a sequel to a teen comedy from the 90s. Adventure is also a sequel to a really good Disney produced adventure movie, which they should make a third film of, if you know what I mean. Romance is a romantic comedy. I'm not a huge person I'm not a huge fan of just straight romance movies. I'm not a fan of like Pride and Prejudice and Jane Eyre and stuff like that, period stuff. So I have chosen a romantic comedy for my specific choice, and it's a film I watched and literally like 2 weeks ago because I fucking love it and I think it's great. I went through this rom-com period where I watched like 20 different rom-coms and I loved every single one of them because I curated a playlist of rom-coms that I wanted to watch. Noir, I've got a really good, massively underrated 40s noir starring I want to say Alan Ladd. I can't remember if it's Alan Ladd. I'm going to double check. I'm using my phone. So yeah, so this, it is Alan Ladd. Yeah, so it's Alan Ladd, Veronica Lake, Robert Preston, and Laird Krieger. It's directed by Frank Tuttle. But this film's really fucking good. I had a poster on my wall that I printed off for a while. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this as well because I need to remember how good it is. I remember it being absolutely fantastic. The only one that I'm stuck on, I think, is World Cinema. But as Steve for Films pointed out, aren't all films world cinema? So, films in a foreign language other than English. Well, in a language other than English. So that could be every American movie. Nah. I apologize. So yeah, world is one I'm struggling with. I don't have a huge amount of world cinema titles. But I don't know whether or not that would include like Italian exploitation movies or stuff like that like classed as cult movies, even though they're dubbed into English and kind of play to a English audience. So I don't know whether or not something like Suspiria would be classed as world cinema. But I've got one in mind that I might add. I'm not 100% sure yet though. So that's a video that's going to be coming up shortly. When I'll probably record that actually on Thursday because I have a day off on Thursday. What else have we got upcoming? Well, I'd be interested to hear what you guys want me to talk about. I like to ramble. I don't like to have a set like script or set layout of what I want to talk about, which is why my videos probably go on so long, is because I do go off on tangents, and I know quite a few of my audience really enjoy me just rambling on about movies, because what happens is I get lost in a subject matter and I will go on and on and on. I mean, this video I talked 25 minutes about the Parker movies. So I'd be intrigued to see what you guys want me to do. Would you like to see me do more recommendations, or just tell me what your favorite films are or your favorite movie genres? Yeah, I'm not like, I don't want to farm you guys for content because no. It's my channel. I need to come up with the content myself, but it would be cool to hear what people would like to see me talk about, so like get lost in chat with, and that's something I really like doing. Like I said, I don't really see myself as a physical media channel. It does heavily feature physical media, but the main focus of this channel is to just talk about movies, talk about some really obscure stuff, some obvious mainstream stuff. What I will say is that I am a person that does not go to the cinema. I do not go and watch new movies. Most of the movies that come out these days aren't really aimed at me. I grew up through the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s when video shops and cult movies and stuff and all those types of weird shit came out, and that's the stuff that I'm obsessed with and the stuff that I can talk about. More modern stuff is not really aimed at me. I don't really like pretentious type of movies. I'm not a fan of Wes Anderson. I think his style has now been overplayed. Every single film he's done in the last 10, 15 years has had the same visual look, and it's a bit boring now. I mean, we get it. You're a hipster. Fucking get on, try something different. I don't really watch a lot of the Well, I tried to catch up with the Marvel stuff, but there's so much, and most of it is just crap now, that I don't really can't follow much of it. Star Wars, they keep announcing movies and then cancelling movies. I'm currently watching Andor Season 2, which is good, but it's a little bit too slow. You can have a slow season, but you can have a season that it just meanders from episode to episode, and I think that's kind of what's happening with Season 2 of Andor, which is really depressing because the first season was so good. And I'm not saying that Andor Season 2 is bad. It's not. It's still probably the best Star Wars content that Disney has done outside of Rogue One, which obviously Andor is massively connected to. But you can have a series that is 13 episodes long, move at a pace. It doesn't have to meander from planet to planet to political this, political that, subterfuge and espionage and stuff. Have a little bit of action in there, move the episodes along. I think that the Skeleton Crew, the Disney Goonies type of show, perfectly encapsulated what we want to see from a Star Wars television series. It's fun, adventurous, it's space pirates and space mutiny. It's just a lot of great fun. And after Andor, I think Skeleton Crew is probably the best Star Wars TV series since The Mandalorian Season 2. I don't think the Disney have really put their money into decent TV series since Mandalorian Season 2. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett failed because halfway through they turned it into Mandalorian Season 2.5. The Obi-Wan series was massively let down because it was originally meant to be a movie, but they extended it to a series of, I think it was 6 episodes, and there wasn't enough content in 6 episodes to stretch across that. There would have been way more. It would have been better if they'd put more budget into making a 2-hour movie. Which, weirdly enough, I actually do have a edited version of the Obi-Wan series, which I think cuts it down to 2.5 hours, and it's a vast improvement over that 6 or 7, I can't remember, I think it was six episodes series. Then you've got Mandalorian Season 3, which is not the Mandalorian Season 3, it's the Book of Bo-Katan, which I don't know what the fuck happened with that season. I think it was as soon as they focused way too much on the rest of the Mandalorians and on having Jack Black and Lizzo in it, I think they kind of just went down the shitter. What other TV series did they do? Ahsoka could have been so much better than it was, but because it relied too heavily on having to have seen Rebels, I think that's why it fails. I would rather watch because I knew of Ahsoka not through Rebels but through Clone Wars, but not through the CGI Clone Wars. I knew of her through the animated, the 2D animated Genndy Tartakovsky shorts that were on Cartoon Network, because that's where I first saw Ahsoka. I didn't see her in the CGI or the 3D, what they call it, Clone Wars series. I'm the short 2-minute 2D Genndy Tartakovsky Dexter's Lab guy. That's where I knew her from, and the fact that they focus way too much on the Rebels storylines, I think kind of alienated a few people. I say a few people, quite a few people, because Rebels is essentially a kids show. Clone Wars, yes, it is aimed at kids, but it's also aimed at older people as well. But I think Rebels is specifically aimed at younger audiences. I think it's probably more between the ages of 8 and 12. And the fact that they made a surprisingly violent TV series of Ahsoka. Also, what the fuck's the deal with the whales? The space whales doesn't make any fucking sense. I think that they made a kind of bit of a mistake by making Rebels a more mature series compared to... Not Rebels. They made Ahsoka a more mature series compared to what Rebels actually was. And that was a turn off for me. I would rather see Ahsoka and Anakin than see the other characters that were in Rebels. I just don't see the point in it. What else was there? The Acolyte I watched 2 episodes of and never watched any more. I thought it was fucking awful. What else? Star Wars is there. I think that's enough Star Wars. I could just talk Star Wars for an entire video, which I did do, but it was one of my lowest viewed videos randomly, because there's so much Star Wars content on the internet and on YouTube that my little pocket of the corner isn't really going to attract many people. Here's my Star Wars collection. It's been done so many times, so I think that's probably why it failed. I have a pretty decent Star Wars collection. I've got as you can see right by there is the Star Wars DVD box set, which is holding up a shelf. And then at the other end is another Star Wars DVD box. Well, another Star Wars box set. It's the VHS box set. It's the gold box set from, I think it was the 1997 special editions. There was a silver and a gold. I think the silver is the widescreen, but I'm not 100% sure. Then I have the original trilogy in the special editions, which have the original theatrical versions on, and then I have the ones from the box set, and then Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3. But I've got the Disney ones on Blu-ray, and they're in the box as well. However, when I was in work today, I saw the big chunky Star Wars Force Awakens 3D collection box set, and it was a $5, and I was just thinking, did they do that? Did they do the 3D black boxes for all of the Disney Star Wars movies? Because if they did, I might consider picking them up. I'm close to considering picking up the 4Ks of the original trilogy, because they do come up quite often at quite a low price, but I'm not really sure. I just want everything to look nice. I just have a lot of Star Wars stuff. So yeah, where are we on? We are on 44 minutes. This would obviously be better if it was someone else for me to bounce off, but it's not. It's just me talking to my camera, not looking at the lens because it's weird, and talking into my microphone. So yeah, I am going to stop talking now because, one, I need to go and have a cigarette, and 2, I also need to have a pee. So, as usual, my name is Pedro. This is Pedro's Movie Cavern. This is Chatting Movies with Pedro. And I will see you in the next video. So, peace. Thanks, everyone. Cheers. Peace out. All right, mate. Cheers. See ya. Oi, oi.